So the minimum wage topic is always an interesting topic to talk about because, of course, this is very an emotional topic, right? It has to deal with people being able to, feed their families, being able to just live and get their basic needs in life. However, for a lot of people, when it comes to minimum wage, I think people lack the understanding of like the consequences of artificially like government being able to raise minimum wage and the consequences of these things happening, right? And that's why I think it's so important for people like to take economics, right? But and really understand this. But however, I know for a lot of people, economics it's a lot. It's not very interesting. But if people did, they would understand how things work, especially when it comes to why things are, cost so much, the effects of like government policies and how they affect, common people, it's everyday citizens. Like if people really understood economics, they would understand why things happen the way they do. So in this video, we're going to talk about minimum wage, right? These are one of these topics, especially that's influenced by politicians. And that's the thing, like a lot of these politicians know that a lot of people don't understand economics, so they're really good at using buzzwords, right? They use buzzwords like, social justice, living wage, or affordable housing, affordable healthcare, minimum wage. They use these buzzwords because like as people, like, how could you be against these things? How could you be against social justice or living wage or affordable housing? Like, how could you be against these things? And if you're someone that tries to break it down and argue against it, then you're against these things and you're a bad person. But it's not because you're against it; it's because you understand the negative effects of it. Okay. So in this video, I have a female here who's she doesn't understand why minimum wage is as low as it is. And she's going to share her feelings. So I'm going to let her talk, and then I'll share my thoughts afterwards.
Can someone explain to me why is it that the minimum wage is not a livable wage? Because I'm not really understanding, and maybe someone can explain it to me because it really doesn't make any sense.
So let me first start off with the livable wage. And this is the thing that gets on my nerves, right? And politicians are good at this. They use, like I said, the livable wage. The one thing I've always asked, like if you asked her, okay, what is a livable wage? I've asked many people, they never give you a number. They never give you an answer because there's no answer. It's just like livable wage. It's something that sounds nice. Like, how could you be against livable wage? But if you ask anyone, what is a livable wage? They never have an answer. And that's the thing that bothers me. It's like, I'm not against you living or being able to live and feed and survive the way you want to do it. But you have to first define what is a livable wage, and you never get that. So that's the frustrating thing about me. So I've already heard her say it the first time, and it's just like, okay, I already know, like, these are just buzzwords that a lot of these politicians use, and other people just take it and say, yeah, we should be able to have a livable wage, but they never really define it. So let her keep going.
Here in the state of Florida, the minimum wage is $12 an hour. And I understand that most people do not get paid minimum wage. A lot of people get paid more than minimum wage. But here's the problem with that. A lot of companies think that they're being generous because they're paying above the minimum wage, when minimum wage is literally like on the floor in hell. Like, you cannot live on minimum wage. If you are getting paid minimum wage, you need government assistance. You are living in poverty. You are making less than $20,000 a year.
So, and this is the thing, like, you're not supposed to be living off minimum wage. Like, and she says she knows that most people aren't living on minimum wage. It's less than 2%. So if you know this, why is this a topic of discussion? Like, why is this something that's bothering you so much? If you know the majority of working Americans are not living minimum wage, what's the issue, right? Because you're not supposed to be a family shouldn't be living off minimum wage. It's something that's at the bottom. And the thing is, the thing that people don't understand when it comes to this just minimum wage is the people that it affects, right? The people that get pushed out of the workforce because of minimum wage, the young people, right? Young people get pushed out, inexperienced, low skilled workers, and also some minority groups. So these are the consequences of minimum wage, okay? And a lot of people don't really understand that. And like the thing is, like, if you're a young person that's coming up, it's going to be hard for you to find a job because a lot of these jobs with these minimum wage are not really taking you in. They're going to take somebody else that probably has a little bit more experience. So you're going to be the one that's pushed out of the workforce. So as a young person, what are you supposed to do? Right? And you probably wonder why there's so much like crime with a lot of these teenagers in certain cities, because they're like, all right, if I'm not working, what am I supposed to do? I'm just going to find something to do. Maybe I'll just go steal. Right? And that's not no excuse for why they do it, but that could be a result of that, right? You need to keep young people doing something, or they're going to find something to do. Okay. And like I said, less than 2% of people are on minimum wage. So why is this an issue? So I'll let it keep going.
Not one person can survive on that. You're making less than $20,000 a year working full time. Why is that the minimum wage? I don't understand it. The minimum wage should be set based off of what is the minimum required to live in the city in which you are employed comfortably.
First of all, what is the minimum requirement? Like, what is that? The minimum. What is the minimum requirement in California? What is it? Like, what is that number? Right? And you say, and she uses the word comfort. That term is so like, one person's comfort is another person's uncomfortableness. So for one person, like I'm not comfortable unless I live in a king bed, right? And it has to be a 3-bedroom, right? Another person, I just need a studio apartment. So like, your comfort is how do you figure out what is a right minimum wage so someone can live comfortably, right? Because everybody has a different understanding of what's comfortable to them, and right, I'm comfortable living in a mansion, or I'm comfortable living in a 3-bedroom with a 2-car garage. Like, it's such an arbitrary word. It's like you need to define what that is, and that's why it's so difficult to really understand. Like, okay, what is that number for you to be able to get paid enough to live that comfortable life that you want to do, that you want to live? That's what makes it more difficult. But they never give you that number. It's just that they just use words that sound nice. Like, how could you be against them? And minimum wage is just it's too low that I can't live that life that you want me to live. And for her, for a lot of people, comfort is probably like, you know what it is? People are looking on social media, right? And they see people living this amazing life, traveling, have nice cars, have nice clothes. And for them, that's the life that they want to live. And because they don't get paid enough, that's the reason why they can't enjoy their life. They can't enjoy life the way they want to. But it doesn't look like she's struggling, right? She's in a car. She looks like she's well fed, right? So what's the issue, right? But I'm gonna let it keep going.
Right? It only makes sense, because how is it that these million and billion-dollar corporations are making all of this money? Like, literally, the CEO of Walmart just bought this super fucking yacht. And his employees, the people who are stocking his shelves and literally giving their lives to this company, are living in some of the worst neighborhoods and in the worst conditions. They can't even barely afford to feed their families.
That's not the responsibility of these corporations. Like, look at, why do some people demonize wealth so much? Like, I think we all aspire to be wealthy someday, right? I can almost guarantee if a millionaire stepped to her and wanted to date her, she would not say no. She's not gonna be like, oh no, because you're a millionaire. No, she's gonna be like, oh, she's gonna date this person. So it's like, why do certain people demonize wealth so much? Like, being wealthy is not a bad thing. Okay. Now, not to say that some of these corporations aren't doing nefarious things, and of course, corporations do nefarious things, millionaires do nefarious things. People that make less than $20,000 are doing bad things. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Bad people do bad things, right? And I think we should all aspire to build wealth some way. And I'm not going to demonize somebody because they make a lot of money. You talk about Walmart and all these other corporations. The reason why they make billions of dollars is because they bring value to the market. Right, they bring value to the people that live there, to their country. They bring value, and of course, you're buying their products because you find their products valuable. And I respect anyone. If you could bring value to the marketplace, then you deserve to make the amount of money that you do. Like, I'm not the type of person to demonize people that are successful. Right, I aspire to be successful myself, and I think we all should be aspiring to be successful. We shouldn't look at a person that's doing well and just hate on that person. Right, especially if they've done it in hopefully in a good way. But like, we have a lot of people that just demonize. Oh, he bought a yacht. Okay, who cares? What does that have to do with you? Okay, and people living in poverty, living in you're talking about these horrible places. Not everybody that works and doesn't make a lot of money living in horrible places. All right, and if that is the case for you, then you need to develop more skills so you can make more money. So then you can just move out of that place that you're living in. Right. So let's hear what else you guys say. Sorry about keep stopping it, but it's just a lot of things that she's talking about.
Like, and they're living on government assistance. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, does anyone else not see this? Does anyone else not care? My job pays me double the minimum wage, but guess what? In my city, I still can't survive on that. That is still not a livable wage. So when are these companies going to actually start paying their employees who are giving their livelihoods, giving their time A livable wage, being able to live and survive in the city in which they are employed, that should be the basic requirement. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. Of course, there are other jobs. I can go and get another job. I could get another higher paying job. But that's not the point here. The point is that these companies are making millions and billions of dollars, and they're paying their employees pennies. Their employees are unable to survive. In a country like America, anyone that's working a 40-hour job, spending their lives working for a company, they should be able to survive and afford the basic necessities to live. But we don't, and that's the problem. So look, one of two things needs to happen. Either they increase the wages or they lower the rent and the cost of living, because we can't keep doing this. The majority of Americans are struggling right now. People need dual income or even more just to afford rent. Most Americans can't even afford to buy a house right now. Shit is screwed. Like, what are we doing, and why are people not more outraged? Like, we should be taking to the streets and striking. We need to do something.
You're not gonna do nothing. You always say we gotta get together and do something. You're not gonna do anything. Right? You're not gonna do anything. And look at people need to understand this. A reason why so many people are struggling, right? It's one of two things. Okay. The first thing, I mean, there's two things. It's obviously, spending habits, and also to government, right? So let's start with the first one, right? Spending habits. A lot of people, I understand. I used to be one of them, right? I spent more than I made. I wasn't living within my means, and I paid for that, right? I was in debt, and of course I struggled when it came to my finances. Eventually, I got better. I learned and understood it, and became better with my money. And now I'm not struggling like that anymore, because I understand what it means to be like, all right, if you're making a certain amount of money, you have to spend within that means. But a lot of people, they're spending above that means. They're spending more than they make. They don't even have a budget. They don't know. They know what's coming in, but they have no idea what's going out, and they're wondering why they live in paycheck to paycheck. Another thing is government, right? The reason why things are so expensive is because government prints money, causing inflation. Another thing that causes inflation is when you increase the minimum wage. That also causes inflation, right? And I get it why people want, with the whole minimum wage increase, right? So let's say you make this amount of money, okay, and the things that you need is right here, right? You're probably thinking, man, if I could just increase that minimum wage, if I can make more money, then I'll be able to afford the things that I need. However, that's not how it works, right? When you increase the minimum wage, right, you bring it up, the cost of goods and services go up at the same rate, right, if not more, right? Why? Because you got to think of it as a business, right? You're increasing the cost of that business running, right? If I'm a business and minimum wage is increasing, then I got to go, all right, now, it costs more money for labor. So therefore I have to transfer that cost over to the customer, right? So they're going to have to pay more. So that's going to create increased prices for the goods and services. And that's what usually happens. So look at California, their minimum wage is $25, and look how expensive it is over there. So increasing the minimum wage is not going to help you live a livable wage. It's not going to help you survive, right? What you need to do is you need to increase your skills, all right? You need to increase the skills. Stop trying to live off minimum wage. Like I said, even though most people don't live off minimum wage, but because a lot of people, government has a big, plays a big role in why things are so expensive, because they print so much money. It's that hidden tax, right? They print more money, and of course, that's just more money circulating in the economy, and it just creates more demand and increases the price of the goods and services that you buy. Okay, and I know a lot of people don't understand this, and and most people won't understand it, because like I said, most people don't understand economics. However, they keep going back to this minimum wage thing, and that's not the solution. Increasing minimum wage is not the solution. If you're someone that's living off minimum wage, you're pretty much always going to struggle in life, right? Because you're not going to have enough to do the things that you want to do, live the life that you want to live. Right? You'll probably be able to, get your basic necessities, but you're going to have to live with multiple people. You can't do it by yourself, okay? And I think that's another thing for a lot of people. It's people have this entitlement that they should be able to live on their own. Like, I should be able to live on my own. I should be able to have my own apartment. That's just not the way the world works. Everybody can't. You're not supposed to be doing this, living this life by yourself. You're gonna be needing family members. You're gonna need a spouse. Like, it's hard to do this thing by yourself, and a lot of people have this expectation that they should be living life on their own. which makes it very difficult. And then you wonder why you struggle. It's very difficult. Not to say it's not easy in today's economy. I'm not saying the economy is great. However, you got to adapt to it, and you got to find different ways, right? And I think a lot of people are just they go on this minimum wage thing thinking that's the solution, but it's really not. Rate increasing the minimum wage is not the solution. First of all, Congress, government needs to get their butt in order when it comes to how they manage our money. That's number one. They need to do that. Okay. And of course, also, you have to take it upon yourself to make sure you're managing your money properly, right? Living within your means, right? Stop getting caught up in the social media where, oh my God, people are living the life, they're able to travel, and I can't do that, and it's not fair. Life is not fair. No one cares about it's nobody's responsibility for your happiness other than your own. It's your job to make yourself happy. And so those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and share. And if you haven't done so, to make sure to subscribe. Take care. Have a good one. Later.